Welcome back to Silicon Bites, and this event is going to be covering an extraordinary event in the Black Sea. Two things went boom, but not in Crimea and not in Sevastopol. We're 30 to 40 nautical miles off Turkey's coast in supposedly safe waters, watching two aging oil tankers from Russia's sanctions-busting shadow fleet burn in the dark. It's beautiful in a sinister kind of a way. Ukraine does not deny this. Sea baby naval drones, precision hits, a deliberate punch to the Kremlin's oil lifeline. But a moral dilemma for Western states that are nominally pro-Ukraine but get squeamish when Ukraine treats this like the existential conflict that it is and takes actions that it must. Ukraine embraces tough, challenging, dirty and morally messy problems and owns the decisions and their impacts. The hypocritical and squeamish West labels this escalation. It's not, but our view on this reality exudes weakness and hypocrisy, as well as a shirking of duty and responsibility. Tonight we're unpacking what may be the most important naval drone strike since the sinking of the Moskva, because it goes straight to the heart of Russia's war economy, Western sanctions, and the question, how far can Ukraine go? How far should it go to choke the Kremlin oil before NATO gets nervous? A warning, NATO is already nervous. And we should ask, should in fact Ukraine place any limits on the military and economic measures it needs to take to survive? And who are we to insist on imaginary limits and red lines that only weaken Ukraine and incite Moscow to more aggression? According to Ukrainian and Western media, domestically produced Sea Baby naval drones struck two Russian-linked oil tankers, Kairos and Virat, in the Black Sea off Turkey's northern coast on 28th of September. That's from the Kiev Independent. A source in Ukraine's security service, the SBU, told the Kiev Independent, that Sea Baby naval drones struck two sanctioned Russian oil tankers, Kairos and Virat, disabling vessels tied to the Kremlin shadow fleet. Both ships were reportedly empty, sailing towards Russia's port of Novorossiysk to load crude when explosions ripped through them, one after another within an hour. The Kairos caught fire about 28 nautical miles off Turkey's Kaili province, with thick smoke pouring from the engine room area. The 25-strong crew were evacuated by Turkish rescue vessels. That's according to Times Union. Further east, the Virat was hit, then, as Turkey later admitted, hit again in a follow-up strike, sustaining damage to its starboard side. Its crew were also reported safe. That's from Ukrainske nationale noviny. Turkey's transport minister posted video of tugboats blasting water into the flames on Kairos and confirmed there was no oil cargo on board either ship at the time, only ballast. From a purely tactical perspective, Ukraine has pulled off something brutally neat and efficient. Both tankers were under Western sanctions already for moving Russian oil. Both were en route to load more crude for export. Both are now out of service, at least for a long, long while, without the nightmare scenario of a massive oil spill. That's from the Kiev Independent. That won't stop a surfeit of hand-wringing in Western capitals, though. A Ukrainian security source quoted by both Ukrainian and international media says the two tankers could together have moved around $70 million worth of oil if they had completed their journey. As the source put it, the drone strike dealt a significant blow to Russian oil transportation. That's from Intent Press. The unseen impact, of course, will perhaps be even greater still. If this dissuades shipping firms, insurers and other players in the oil supply chain from dealing with Russia and handling its crude oil, the ripple effects could be much more substantial. Turkey is not a neutral bystander here. It is NATO's Black Sea gatekeeper. It controls the Bosphorus and Dardanelles straits, but it's also deeply entangled in Russian and Kazakh energy transit. Ankara's initial reaction was cautiously technical. The maritime authorities spoke of an external impact and said the cause was under investigation. Then the rhetoric hardened. The Turkish Foreign Ministry later issued a statement saying these incidents, which took place in Turkey's exclusive economic zone, posed serious risks to navigation, life, property, and the environment. Turkey stressed it was in contact with relevant parties to prevent escalation of the war across the Black Sea and to protect Turkish economic interests. Again, quoted in the Kiev Independent, Turkish Transport Minister Abdulkadir Uraloglu went a step further when talking to Turkish and international outlets, suggesting the tankers may have been hit by mines, drones or missiles. That's from ABC News. Everyone knows mines don't magically pick out two sanctioned Russia-connected tankers in quick succession while leaving other shipping alone, especially as one of those tankers had a secondary follow-up strike to compound the damage. But Ankara does not want to say the quiet part out loud, that is, Ukraine. Why? Because this attack sits at the intersection of three Turkish red lines. One, environmental risk. No one in Ankara wants a Deepwater Horizon-style catastrophe off the Black Sea coast, which will be immensely expensive to clear up and, of course, immensely damaging. Two, there is the economic risk. Turkey earns money and leverage from being a corridor for oil and gas. Chaos at sea hurts that. And three, escalation risk. If Russian and Ukrainian drones start playing chase the tanker near the Bosphorus, NATO's only Black Sea Navy gets dragged into the middle of it. And yet Turkey knows exactly what these ships are and who they serve. Both Kairos and Virat are identified in sanctions databases and Western reporting as part of Russia's shadow fleet. The constellation of aging, reflagged tankers used to move Kremlin oil around sanctions and price caps. Ankara is trying to walk an impossible tightrope, condemning the method, not endorsing, though, however, Russia's business model, and above all, keeping the Black Sea war away from its own shores. Let's zoom in on this shadow tanker fleet, because that's really who Ukraine attacked here, the lifeblood of the Russian war economy. Shipping analysts and sanctions experts estimate that hundreds of tankers, often 15 to 20-year-old ones, have been repurposed or redeployed to carry Russian crude to Asia since the full-scale invasion began. They operate under flags of convenience, they shift ownership on paper, they switch off their AIS transponders and play hide-and-seek with regulators and insurers. That's according to Lloyd's List. As a Lloyd's List op-ed recently put it, sanctions against Russia's so-called shadow fleet have not stopped the flow of Russian oil. That same piece notes Russia's trade surplus peaking in 2024 at around $152 billion. Still huge, even as it falls in 2025. Plenty of money to keep bombing Ukrainian cities. And this is the point. Ukraine is taking actions because Western sanctions have proved ineffective at choking off the revenue to Putin's military machine and his rabble army that is ravaging eastern Ukraine and, of course, cities in western Ukraine with missiles and drones as well. And it's oil that pays for all of these. The shipping world has been shouting about the risks of this for months. Maritime intelligence analyst Michelle Weiss-Brockman, quoted in the maritime outlet G-Captain, describes Kairos as flagless, stateless, and any insurance and class it has is invalidated. She added that the Dark Fleet is an accident waiting to happen. Well, now it seems a deliberate accident got tired of waiting, and it happened.